Good evening. Welcome, welcome. It's Wednesday. I am au naturel today. Has been for a couple other days too. Let's see. Well, I'll just update so we can wait for a couple people to hop on here. Tonight's going to be short and sweet. I don't really have a topic. But you know me, that doesn't really matter because I pull cards and I just shoot from the hip. So a couple things. Updates. The Intuitive Love Stories was very successful. Thank you to all that showed up. And I sold some notebooks and I sold some, I want to advertise these. Where can I? It's my Spirit Wish Jars. I want to show you guys my Spirit's Wish Jars. This came to me, this idea. Hello, Mindy! This idea came to me when I was doing regular wish jars for Christmas presents. And in my regular wish jars that I made for Christmas presents, I just kind of threw in some stuff. It really didn't have, it had some meaning, but they were individualized. So these I made standardized for everybody. So, oh, look at this one has a little, each one is different except just for the charm is different. And the charm is just for, you know, cosmetics. So while I'm waiting for some people to hop on here, I'm going to tell you what each thing in this little jar, in this little Spirit's Wish jar means, okay? All right. So the salt, and I sell these for $5. So if you guys want some, I have some left to sell. I'm going to be selling them at my events. I'll be selling them probably during the citywide thrift sale in June. And then by special order or whatever. So if you want these are $5. Hello, Tom. So the salt represents purity. And then there's rice in here. Represents abundance. There is a cacao chip, like a chocolate chip, that opens up your heart chakra. There is a match, right there. See the match? Right there, matchstick. That represents your internal light. And then the amethyst bead is purple. That's like in there, right there. That represents universal healing. That is the universal healing stone, amethyst. There's also a rose quartz in here. Somewhere it's buried. It's in there. And that represents love. And there's dried tobacco leaves. Now so my husband is he just got certified for his shaman. He is a shaman now. And so he implements some of the shaman principles and rituals into his Reiki sessions for healing. So I just found this out. So dried tobacco leaves, when you burn them, it communicates with the divine. So what you want to ask and what you want to thank the divine for travels into the smoke. Isn't that cool? So there are dried tobacco leaves. There's also dried spruce needles in here for grounding. There is a bell. Supposed to be a bell in here. I bet it's in there. Yep, there it is. And that represents freedom. And then the leather cord that's tied around it on the top represents that we are tied to our ancestors. So isn't that cool? Like this just came to me. I don't know. I was like thinking of it and I thought I gotta make these. So these are $5. All right. Another update. Travis and I have decided a name for our business. And I'm just going to show you. This will be backwards. I'm sorry. But this is our business card. And our name of our business now, between the two of us, is called Third Crow Energies. You like that? Third Crow Energies. It's backwards, but, and Travis specializes in shamanistic practitioner, Reiki energy healing, chakra balancing, and soul retrieval. And I specialize in spiritual communication, oracle card readings, and journaling mentor. And there's the back side of the card. So we are taking appointments. I think Travis charges $40. And that'll be, if you choose, I can be there to hold space. We had a session last Tuesday where I held space. And it was really an amazing session. We moved a lot of energy through our client, stagnant energy. So we can talk about that tonight, moving stagnant energy. And I charge $30 for my oracle card readings. I can do them virtual and in person. So those are some of the updates. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing this week? It got really nice, but now it's cold and windy. And I'm kind of suffering, I guess, or healing. I'm healing from a injury that I had this summer. It just out of nowhere, it kind of came back. But we're going to pull some cards and then we're going to talk. I also want to talk about this wonderful contraption that Travis bought me. It is a grounding mat. I'm not going to show you it because it's just basically, it's just looks like a yoga mat. It's the thickness of it. And it's actually just not that big. So it's like this. So it's like half the size of a yoga mat. But he bought it for me and you plug it into your ground. So you have three holes in your plug-in in your wall. And this just plugs into that third one. And it's grounding. And so I laid on it tonight after I came home from my massage, and it was just like, wow, it was just, I got so more relaxed. And I think I journeyed a little bit. I wasn't going to do that, but I did. And, got some intuitive messages, and yeah, I think I kind of fell asleep. It's supposed to help with, aches and pains, insomnia, headaches, nausea, anxiety, depression. There's the list goes on and on that I have read. I can only witness the hour that I laid on it, but I'm gonna try it again tonight. So it's called a grounding mat. So if you would like to try the one that I use, reach out and I can hook you up with the gal that we bought ours from. All right. So I'm going to shuffle. I'm just going to give this is kind of like a little affirmation deck. It's called the Spirit Junkie. And it's by Gabrielle Bernstein. It's a 52 card deck. And so I'm just going to pull a deck out of this one, and then we'll talk a little bit about the topic. And yeah. So feel free, this is an open conversation. If you'd like to comment about what you get intuitively off the card, that's what this is for. We all have intuition. And I hope at some point that, because I have something in mind that I do want to say. I was laying in bed last night trying to just not think about my pain. But I was trying to think of something positive instead of my pain. And I thought of intuition and how many people, and even including myself when I first started, really practicing my intuition, is what is the difference between intuition how do you decipher that it's intuition? Like if it's actually a divine message, either from the divine or from your inner self. Because those two, and we could talk about that. I have learned, there's that thing again. Did you guys see that? It's too fast. It might be too fast to be a dust, but I don't know, whatever. It feels very different. The two feel very different. And they didn't feel different in the beginning for me, but as I have really gotten to know, my practice, and, surrendered and let go and allow, I can decipher between whether it's, my intuition like when it's from divine or if it's from me. The conversation is it's very different. When divine is talking to me or I'm getting messages from divine, it seems like it's more softer. When I'm getting messages from my inner self, it's more more persistent, more demanding, more abrupt. You know, so there is a difference for me, that in my opinion, it's different for me. I can decipher, not all the time, but most of the time. So I'm going to pull a card for tonight for the collective. And I'm going to do the third card off the top. So the third card off the top is taking care of myself is a radical act of love, and perfect for Valentine's Day. Perfect theme for yesterday's Valentine's. So taking care of myself is a radical act of love. So we got 3 important words that are just really screaming at me. Myself, radical, love. So first of all, we need to put ourselves first. That's the first word that is screaming at me, is myself. The second word is radical, and that means it's super, super, super important. All right? So our self and what we do for ourself is very important. And then the third word that is screaming at me is love. So love for yourself is very important. That's the message. That's how I interpret this little card here. You would think that it was self-explanatory, but we need to break it down, folks. So I started practicing this radical self-acceptance a couple months ago. And gosh darn it, it's hard to, you know, it's really hard to accept people as they are, you know, because we can't change them. But why do we get so involved or so wrapped up in why people do what they do, why people say what they do, why they don't do what they do? You know, we can't control them. You would think it would be easy. You would think it would be just, you know, you think it would be easy, but it's not. And that should be the easiest part, but it's not. But radical self-acceptance, I think, is equally hard. But I think once you can accept yourself, then you know that all your flaws and your edges and everything that, you know, you might have forgiven yourself for, and acceptance and giving yourself grace for, it's a lot easier to practice that principle with others. That's what I'm trying to say. It's very, for me, some others, you know, some things about others are very difficult, still very difficult for me to accept. But what I have accepted is that I just don't let it bother me. I don't want to make excuses for what they've done or what they say. I can't change that. And if they don't want to change, then fine. But I'm going to change my distance between you and I'm going to change how much of my energy that I allow you to get of mine. So that's where boundaries come in. So realize your self-worth, accept what you've done, who you are, and then set some healthy boundaries with accepting others. And, you know, eventually it does get easier and easier and easier. But, you know, we have to get out of that mindset that when we say ourselves that we're being selfish, because we're not. We're not. We have to put ourselves first with loving ourselves. Hello, Angela. We need to, you know, and it's so cliche, but it makes total sense. What I'm going to say, the words of, you can't love someone else, or you can't love others until you love yourself. Well, I can testify what that means because I went through it. I went through it this year. I had a massage today, and so I was supposed to get this bottle of water in way hours ago. So now I'm thirsty. I had to go through that, and I realized how I didn't love myself, how not loving myself affected how I loved my husband. But I didn't realize that until I realized how I love myself. And once I started loving myself, it became like a freaking slap in the face. It was like, holy shit. I had to sit down and just like kind of take it in, because I'm like, and it just hit me. It just hit me, you know, out of nowhere. And I'm like, holy shit, like I have not been loving my husband the way he deserves to be loved, because I haven't been loving myself the way that I deserve to be loved. So it changed the dynamic of our relationship, because we've both been working on so much in the last couple of years. So enough of this card, but that is how I am interpreting it. All right. Those 3 words: myself, radical, love. All right. There's your Valentine's Day greeting, folks. And that is out of the Spirit Junkie. I love this deck. It is so, there's just like little, there's no book with it. There's just, you know, little affirmations. It's really quick. So I like these quick cards just to kind of do, if you want to lay them all out, like if you're into oracle cards. They're just a cool little tool, a divination, just to kind of give yourself that uplifting little quote of the day, you know? And I like to kind of put them out like in a week's worth, so that every day of the week I can go, oh, well, Wednesday I got this going on. So, you know, that kind of makes sense. So that's what I do. You don't have to do it. I'm just expressing what I like to do. I like this new deck, you guys. This is probably my favorite lately. It's called, it's by Shannon Kaiser, and it's the Unshakable Inner Peace Oracle card. So this one has a book. This one has a book, and I'm just gonna pick a card from here. Feel free to comment. This is your group, you guys. I think we've got 460 members. 460. So I think what I'll do is I'll give another free reading to the person that is the 500th member. And I'm taking, like, you know, suggestions for what you guys want to hear. Somebody last week mentioned talk about crystals and, you know, their origins and what they're used for. So maybe I'll just go through my personal collection, because I can show you the, you know, what it physically looks like. All right. So I shuffled this card, and this card is going to be drawn for the collective, for the group. Come together, we need each other. How appropriate. How appropriate as a collective card. The number is 44, if you're into numbers. 4 plus 4 is 8. Come together, we need each other. Where have you been separating yourself or pushing against others and the world? Well, that kind of spins off from the radical self-acceptance card there. And this card, like, it's a mirror image of these 2 girls, or it's a mirror image. It looks like there's 2 girls, but it's actually like a mirror image. So is that who we really see when we look at ourselves? Do we truly see our true self? This is a true self, because look at it's a mirror image. We need to come together. We need each other a lot more than we ever have lately, because there's so much false, just stupid bullshit going on in the world. You can't trust the news. You know, Can't trust our government. They lie to us. I could get off on a tangent, but this is not what that's about. I don't want to be negative. I also see, because the world here is as equally as big as this blossom here, it's kind of telling me like we can be as big as the world. We don't have to be like that small speck. We can be as big as our world. We can make we can make ourselves as big as the world, and we can be as big as we want to be. We don't have to be small. Oh, I like that. And I've had this card come up before. We can be as big as we want to be. We can make our world as big as we want it to be. I like that. We can make our world as big as we want it to be. As long as we are our authentic self. Whew, I like that. So I'm going to read from the book. What do you guys get out of that card? I'd like to know. Put it up. I'll put it up as I read it. Okay? I'll do this. My arm hurts a little bit. There is a lot of distraction and fear in the world. And when we give our attention to these outside forces, we lose sight of our authentic power. Did I just say that? I just said that. You have the power to live in harmony and peace, but it depends on how you show up for others. Look at any area in your life where you are resisting and judging. Are you pushing against what you fear and lashing out energetically? We live in a system that thrives on pushing us apart and keeping us separate from one another. Don't fall into this trap. We need each other, differences and all. Just because someone has a different view doesn't mean it isn't valid. We can all exist together by allowing each other to be who we really are. Look at the separations in your life and make a commitment to bring more unity, compassion, and understanding to each situation and relationship. You know intuitively this separation from others who see things differently isn't working. It isn't in your true nature. Allow room for all beliefs and truly support others with kindness and love. Listen with care, remove judgment, and refrain from needing to prove anyone right or wrong. Well, we truly need a lot of that. My husband and I were having this discussion about a certain something that happened personally to me. And if anybody's got a better word for trigger, I am all about it, because I don't know what word to use for it. Is it prompt? Is it, I don't like the word trigger. It seems like it's a negative connotation, but I think it does. I think realistically, it does happen. So if somebody has a better word for trigger, please shout it out here. Because, and if they have any advice on how to recognize when you're about to have a trigger, or is that what the trigger is? That's what it is. And then, because like I was triggered this last weekend, and it literally came out of nowhere, and I didn't even know like it was a trigger until it was too late, until like hours later, but the damage was done. I yelled. Yeah, wasn't a very nice person. So if anybody's got any tips and tricks for, number one, a different word for it, and if there's any like things that work for you guys, how to recognize when you're about to be triggered, I would love to hear your guys' advice on that. All right, that was card number 2. And I'm going to do one more card. And if nobody has any questions, then we're going to end it. End it early. This card that I'm going to pull for the collective is, excuse me, I really like the artwork. It's one of my newer decks. Honestly, I'm not crazy about it, but I have learned that they say, you know, kind of for the cards, for the decks that you're not really, you know, 100% drawn to. Put them away. Put them away for a little bit, and let them kind of just sit for a little bit, because maybe that they're not aligned. Like maybe that deck is not aligned with your energy or your vibration in that moment. So I'm pulling this one out because I was told to pull it out again. And this is called The Shaman's Dream. It's by Colette Baron Reid. She's one of my favorite intuitive people that I follow and I watch, and I buy her oracle card decks. So I'm going to shuffle these. And as I'm shuffling and you're still watching, and I pull a card for the collective, just either write down intent, a question, because this card is going to be pulled for the collective. So set an intent, ask a question, and hopefully maybe the card that will be pulled will resonate with your intent or your question. All right. Okay. I'm going to knock 3 times. And I'm going to pull the third card. Not the top card, the third card. Overflow. Oh. Overflow. There. It's kind of, I'll go back a little bit. Maybe it's. The number is 43. 4 plus 3 is 7. Overflow, overwhelm, and plenty. Oh, wow. There's like so much. I'm going to take my glasses off. There's so much on this card. It's interesting because I'm looking at all the details in this card. So there's a reflection. See that? And we have that in the other card. There's also an arrow right there. So ask yourself, like, am I going in the right direction? Am I overwhelmed with the direction that I'm going into? Or is the direction that I'm going into, is it like plenty? Does it fill my cup? Is it a soul yes? And then I'm going to say that this thing on the top here, can you guys see that? Is like one of those telescopes. So maybe you're looking at the wrong direction. Maybe you're looking into the wrong direction. And then this is really interesting over here. I don't know what that is. I think is that a phonograph? Is that an old phonograph? Is that what they call it? With music coming out of there? Isn't that interesting? It's on the top of a roof. What do you think that means? Music on the top of a roof. These are very interesting buildings here. Well, right away, it's like I'm getting the words, you know, make your own music, or dance to, you know, live your life to your own tune. But there's like water coming out of it. So when something is, oh, okay. So for instance, this is like, show the world. Show the world that, and that kind of goes with our other card, a community card, like show the world how to do that. How to live in a world by your own tune. Individuality. You know, because I think when we don't look at our true reflection, We just see what the world wants us to see. And then we become overwhelmed and we do not get to be individuals. That's how I'm interpreting that. Yes, I like that. Let's read from the book. See if any of it resonates. So many good things are headed your way or are already occurring in your life right now. Yet you may be thinking that you're not possible or you're not worthy for them. Abundance is everyone's natural state before we project our restrictions on it. Let me repeat that. Abundance is everyone's natural state before we project our restrictions on it. Defining what it means, who has it, who gets it, and so forth. Right now, take yourself out of your conditioning and look at your life through the eyes of plenty. There is so much beauty in love, opportunities and divine synchronicities destined to support your dreams abound and are lined up for you. Yet it's sometimes difficult to discern it all because you're bombarded with too much information and stimulation distracting you from the truth that all is well. Sometimes all this overflow can be overwhelming, and you can find yourself responding with empathy overload. Empathy overload occurs when you tune in to the collective angst and fear about impending changes and uncertainties. It's unmanageable. You feel like you're drowning in those emotions. It's time to allow yourself to detach, bring yourself back to your life, restore your faith in a power greater than you, and remind yourself to focus on your smaller personal universe, which is much easier to manage. In this way, you know that you are a conduit for life's blessings and can share them with others, making this perception of overflow profoundly positive. Oh, I really like that. I couldn't have said that better myself. Well, there you go. So we pulled some cards, and I wasn't feeling the best this week, folks, so I just decided to pull cards. I will try to work on some maybe themed conversations, maybe with the crystals, and try to have a little more something special for next week. And by all means, put your ideas out here, because this is a group for all of us. I don't have to talk about what I want to talk about. I want to talk about what you guys want to talk about. I'll do most of the talking, but I'll talk about what you guys want me to talk about. So, all right. I hope you guys have a rest of a good week. If you are reaching out for any energy work or some Oracle card prophecies, or Oracle card reading from me, or some Reiki from Travis, please reach out. We are gonna probably start the Facebook group, like a business for Third Crow Energies. We have business cards now. Travis and I are both on Facebook and Facebook Messenger. So if any of that sounds super groovy to you and you want to see what Reiki healing is all about, reach out. All right. I love you all. Thanks for watching. See you next week.